Hello, cookbookers. So say you've been working for a while on these basic triad and chord tone based approaches, but you want to go a little bit further, add some colour and some more jazzy harmony, if you forgive my use of the adjective jazzy, to what you're doing. One way you could do it is by using the dreaded chord scales. If you don't know about chord scale theory, I'd suggest maybe checking it out, but I'm not going to do anything too crazy here. What I'm going to talk about today is just taking one note from the chord scale and using it in your lines. So for instance, we'll take our trusty G major blues. Okay, so say I wanted to get a kind of a mixolydian sound, right? Now, one way I could do that is by adding in a flat 7. So if I add in a flat 7, I have to know where the 1 is, because a flat 7 is like a tone or 2 frets below a 1. So for instance, if I've got this chord shape, I have to know that's a 1, I have to know that's a 5, it's a 1, 3, 5, 1. I'm talking about the intervals within the chord here, right? So if I add in a 7, that will be a tone below the 1. That's where my 1s are, that's where my Gs are. Might be easier to finger it something like this. For instance, so when it's a very common sound, that's a G7 chord, and you do the same thing here, of course. Nothing wrong with it though. And then do that E7 as well. Then maybe we use the flat 7 on the A minor chord to give you an A minor flat 7. Same thing, right? So you've got to know where your 1s. Your 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. That's your 1. Then we got a D7. Kind of boring, okay? What about, instead of using the 7th, we use maybe, for instance, the 4th. So the 4th is a half step in a mixolydian mode, it's a half step above the 3. Very active note, right? Has a lot of power. Use it here as well, right? And here we're going to use the 2nd, because the 2nd works really well with the minor. We can use the 4th. Let's use the 4th. Same thing here. So I'm using a 4th over every single chord there, right? This natural 4th. Okay. Say, okay, fine. You can use the 2nd. The 6th maybe. On this one you might want to use a flat 2nd. Which is a really nice sound. 2nd sounds really nice on A minor. Yeah, let's use a flat 9 here as well. So the 2nd and 4th sound really good. 13th and 7th a little bit more commonplace. You know, you might have come across those at 6th chords, 7th chords. So it's quite nice to experiment with the 4th as well, and the 2nd to produce these nice add 2 and add 4 sounds. So they can be interesting, and it's only one note extra to your triad. Okay, so that's great. Okay, let's say I want to take one step further out. So we're going to sharp the 11ths, right? Sounds hip, right? Sounds very bluesy. And also a little bit kind of, a little bit different when I use it like that, instead of always going up to the 5th. Going down to the 3rd, it gives you more of that Lydian tonality. You know, and you can add in the 2nd as well if you want. And then let's add in the same note there. Sounds very strange over the E, but kind of cool. If I put in 4th there as well, you get the blues scale, right? Let's Let's do the raised fourth here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the chords a little bit to get the best effect. So G major, that's going to be sharp 4, sharp 11th, same for C7, G7, and then at the end I'm going to move here towards more of a flat 9 sound. So add the flat 9 there, then to the C7 with the sharp 11, flat 2 there for the second bar of that, G with a 9, sorry, G with the sharp 11th, and then the E with the added flat 9, natural 9th and the A minor, flat 9 here. Let's go through it. 1, 2, 3. Flat 9. How good does that sound? Just adding basically one note to each of those triads. So I suggest you experiment with those. Don't always feel like you have to follow conventional, 7th chords, 6th chords, that kind of thing. Those sounds get used a lot in jazz, but they get used a lot, but other sounds get used as well. For instance, here's an example of a Charlie Parker head that uses the 4th. How High the Moon uses the 9th. Okay, so if you want a solo there, hear how instantly bebop it is to use a second there, for instance. So yeah, the only limit is your imagination.